can I interject and talk about my World Champs experience?
Love you too. Love you too. So you're watching from home?
Yeah, I watched it from a mutual friend's house.
Okay.
Dason's house. We had a little pizza and beer party.
Nice.
0%. And just hung out and watched the race, man. It was nice. Okay. We're going to get a little salty. Ready?
Are you?
Yeah, because
what are
why
you
not?
Salty about? Yeah,
Because
go on.
we can, because it's what we do, man. And I think
Alright,
it's
let's hear
important
it.
to have these conversations.
I don't know. I
Let me
don't know where
settle
this is going.
in.
Did I say something else about?
No.
All right.
Let me settle in.
It's the UK or Great Britain. Jeez.
Just quickly, did you guys watch the race, or were you just fully up there and not experiencing it?
I just watched it from the side like Ollie here.
Okay, perfect.
Oh yeah.
So you've not watched
VIP. Doug was VIP.
Really? Yeah.
Dude, Doug was up there. Danny Mack, Warner. He's chilling on the finish line.
Balling.
Crew.
Unreal. He had champagne in hand. Caviar. Someone was feeding him caviar.
No
Like,
way.
Doug, is that you?
Bloody
Couldn't
hell.
believe it.
All right. So I think this is probably quite a long conversation. So we'll try and.
I'm interested in this.
But
Yeah.
I am interested to talk to you about this. And I want people's feedback too. Hopefully, we get some feedback in the comments and stuff.
So you
So-
talking about the broadcast here?
I talk about
You
the whole
talking-
thing a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's go. We're going to talk about the whole thing a little bit because, I think we all have a different view of what we want mountain biking to be and what we want the broadcast to look like and stuff like that. I think it's safe to say that we all have probably a lot of people have a different idea of what mountain biking is to them and like what it looks like, right? That's fair. And my view is probably a little bit different to most because I'm quite a fan of American sports. I'm quite a fan of Supercross, and I am a fan of what you've seen those sports, especially Supercross, actually turn into, and a great job that the media teams behind it do of telling stories, of showing you all the cool shit behind the scenes, and I'm probably gonna speak out of turn on some stuff, but we'll go for it anyway. So for me, like World Champs, right? It's the biggest event of the year, and biggest event of the year, I'd say, for downhill.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it?
It's a weird one.
It's a standalone one. It's a
It's a
little
yeah.
island. Yeah.
But the fact that it was on like in the UK,
Certainly
it's
up
on,
there.
It's on national TV as well, right? It's on the BBC. It's on the biggest TV thing. So you've got all the teams doing all this cool shit as well, right? So you've got like custom bikes, you've got custom kit, you've got all this cool stuff going on, and all these riders coming over from different countries that maybe don't ride the World Cup circuit and stuff like that. And I just feel that we just do a bad job of portraying our amazing sport to new audiences. And I think it's been really interesting to see over the last few years, like how much people respect vlogs and how much people respect more behind the scenes stuff. And I just feel like it's just off. Like it just was, like, for example, it was on mainstream TV in the UK and my dad watched it.
Yeah, it was
And
on
my
the
dad-
BBC,
It was
right?
on the BBC. It was on BBC One. Needles commentated. No doubt he did a fantastic job. But even my dad was a bit like, it was just a bit like bland. It was a bit boring. And I think, again, I'm really mindful here of like, I'm all for, I want to be super positive about the sport. I think that's something that we really try and do here, right? We try and be super positive. We're trying to project it in a great light and stuff. But I'm also quite mindful that if we're going to be putting mountain biking on mainstream TV or in front of a lot of people, let's make it look what we know it is behind.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So I think obviously it's really difficult as well for these broadcast teams to, God, I feel like such a dick here. But it's hard for these broadcast teams to sort of show what downhill is because it's a big course and blah, 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 blah. But like the track didn't look as gnarly as what it maybe should have on TV. That a lot of it was missing. A lot of it made it look like a flat track. It showed a lot of pedaling sections. And I think it just, unless you knew the sport of downhill, you'd be like, it's a bit lame.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know? So there's that. And I just think
so
like...
are we doing improvements now? So like what about I haven't seen the
See that-
World Champs broadcast. So what
Okay.
things would you add to make it more like Supercross or to make it more like I don't know.
I don't think it needs to be more Supercross per se, but it just needs like some pizzazz, some excitement behind it. It was just bland.
So you saying stuff like rider intros? So like
Rider intros, like why aren't we telling people more information about these people, like who they are? I know you've only got a few minutes. I appreciate that, and also we're not, how
many riders were on the broadcast? Was it still 30?
No, it's way more. It was, it was a lot more. It was a lot. And again, this is a bigger conversation than what we can probably have here, man, because there's so much other elements to this of how you do it and rider gaps and all that sort of stuff. I appreciate that, but I was just like, me and Dason sat there, and not to call him out either, but like we're having beer and it's chill, and we were both just like,
yeah.
And I don't want that. Like that's not what it is to me. Like there was just like no show behind it, and to say it's like world champs, like this is the event, this is it. There was just like no.
I think
hype.
The weird thing about World Champs is it's like governing body, so it's actually not the most commercial event.
Yeah.
It's not like Hardline, for instance, that has much money put into it. It's actually not like that. It's like I remember there were I can't remember who it was, but they had to pay their own flights. I can't remember which team it was even, but they had to pay their own flights to World Champs.
Right.
Stuff like that, weird stuff where a team, the national team, won't pay.
Right.
I'm not calling out any national teams because I don't know which one it was or whatever, but I think like Eddie used to have to pay for his own flights years ago to World Champs. I think he was saying, and like, and they have to wear the jerseys, and jerseys have sponsors that are nothing to do with that individual.
Yeah.
Like there's loads of funny things about World Champs actually. So I kind of, it doesn't surprise me that the broadcast would be, it's just less commercially viable. It's more like,
see, I love that you've brought your spin to it. Maybe I'm just like looking at it wrong. I just feel
I haven't seen it, dog. I'm
no.
not like.
But I just think that you're right. Maybe it is the people, the governing body behind it. But the fact, like I say, that we have this one-off event that's so special.
Yeah.
That like you don't see any of it.
I'm completely with you.
Everything
is so hard to get across on screen. You ride down something steep and it doesn't look steep. You go to Rampage and you actually look at stuff and you're like, well, it's so much gnarlier than what it looks like. It looks like a groomed course. Like, I think that is the challenge, isn't it?
It is the challenge.
It is the challenge. But with World Champs, I literally don't know who has the purse to do it and to do like, it'd be cool to do rider intros. I'm with you. And it'd be cool to do all of these things.
And I think that's one thing.
They all come at a cost.
Of course they do. And that's one thing that, perfect really. Like when you look at what the Hardline broadcast would have probably been, it's like, let's lift the lid on these people. Like, who are these people under these helmets?
That's a TV show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like Hardline or something like Rampage
that's what
is a TV show.
And I think that's probably why I've got that idea and that like, what would you call it? That sort of like perspective is like, I was watching it on TV, but it didn't seem like a TV show.
I'm trying to think of another sport that has like, absolutely. Like the cricket. If that's like a...
I don't know.
No.
I don't watch it.
But I don't think the cricket is like doing like intros with them.
Surely there has to be something because it's so bland.
But I think a lot of sport is like for the fans, thick and thin fans, even if it's
which is fair.
But also think about it, like athletics, they don't really do a lot of that supercross like hyping it up and stuff, and actually cricket would be tough. It'd be hard to make cricket exciting, I would say. But athletics, I feel like you could.
Definitely. And I'm sure they do. I don't know. I don't know. Again, if I've ever watched athletics, it's going to be like a BBC broadcast of
it's Commonwealth Games, isn't it? Or it's like
I'm sure there's these like fringe events in athletics that are like a bit more hype and maybe some fireworks and stuff.
I haven't watched actually, which is terrible because we've got a podcast that literally is meant to talk about it, but I haven't watched any of the World Champs other events because this has been the first one that's been unified. So everything has gone on in Glasgow, which is really exciting actually for the sport, and in future for the sport in different locations is so cool. Yeah. Like it was, I think Fort William felt quite set apart, and I guess downhill will be set apart from the other events because
everybody I've spoke to that went there said it was amazing. Atmosphere was insane.
Oh yeah.
Like, and no doubt it was, but I just wish, like I said, I just wish
get it across.
we could get it across and not just come across as bland.
I'm with you, but I don't know how. What I was going to say is I don't know how they presented other sports because it's tied into the same thing. It's not. And
it was on my list of things to try and do was to watch.
Yeah, the BMX
something big, like road race, something big, where it's like because everyone always says this thing. It's like, oh, the money's going into the other sports. It's like, okay, well, what do they look like?
One, didn't he? Road.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that's I'd like. If that's what people say, like all the money gets funneled that way, I want to see what does that broadcast look like. Like, is it any different? I don't know.
I don't know. It's very interesting because you've got stuff like, I don't know, because we live in a bubble. We survive in a bubble. Obviously, we're proper head in the sand. But in my eyes, mountain biking, not necessarily downhill mountain biking, but mountain biking as a sport, and bias towards descending.
Yep.
Mountain biking as a participation sport, in my eyes, is much bigger than track cycling. Would you agree? Track cycling, going around a velodrome,
yeah, in my eyes,
not accessible.
Yeah,
and not many people have track bikes, fixies.
True.
I don't think. I just think more people have mountain bikes. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm
wrong a lot about these things.
I'd say more people do have mountain bikes,
but I think it's just a governing body. It's easier for them to like sort of weigh.
Yeah. I wish there was just someone there in the middle, and maybe there is, that's like, okay, who sort of like stands for descending mountain biking, like downhill, that was like, okay, right, it's going on BBC, prime time, Saturday afternoon. Let's go. Like, let's get this sport in front of people. Let's make people hyped. Let's make people watch it and go, that was insane. Like, what an amazing thing to see. Whereas I feel like people would have maybe watched that and gone, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, trackside, obviously, everyone's hurtling at such a speed. It's so impressive.
Yeah.
But actually, Fort William is a difficult track to capture because, honestly, it's not that steep. It is that long. It's what's gnarly about it is just how brutally long it is. And like to think, when you're up the top of the lift, you don't look at the crowd all the way down there, which you can do.
Yeah.
You see that crowd, you can almost, you can imagine the sound of that crowd. You don't think you'd be down there in 4 minutes' time on two wheels. Like, it's actually quite a feat when you're up there in that.
Yeah,
mate, I was up top for Valley's Run. I talked about it on the last podcast, so I was going to try and not talk about results. I was going to try and talk about the experience.
Yeah,
but I was up top for Valley's Run. And I just thought, whoa, I am glad I'm not you right now. Like Valley in the start hard, just on her own, looking down the track, just like backpedaling. You've got
silence.
You've got a big job on. You've got 5 minutes.
Midges.
You've got a big job on.
Yeah.
5 minutes of threading the needle all the way down the track to get to that crowd.
Gnarly, man.
Like, it's wild sport, and I think just capturing that alone is so difficult.
Yeah. Did you enjoy this clip? If so, please like and subscribe. The full episode is available by hitting one of the links on the screen right now, or type The Ride Companion into your favourite podcast app. We've even put links in the show description for you. Cheers!